Hi.
Hello. Welcome to Hoop Talk.
We are back. We've had a little bit of a hiatus, but we are back and we are ready to go. So I hope you enjoy this playoff edition of Hoop Talk.
We're just going to talk about all the ups and downs, surprises, and stuff about the playoffs. And a little bit about the Lakers and the draft.
All right. We hope you enjoy the show. Here we go. Okay. Welcome to Hoop Talk. It's good to be back with you. It's been a little while, but there's been a lot going on in the NBA. I thought, when the Spurs picked up, good old LaMarcus, that they were going to probably go all the way. I really did. I thought he'd be that one guy that just, pushed him over the hump, got him another championship. So was I right?
No.
Yeah.
So that whole episode we did based on Warriors and Spurs in the Western Conference Finals, it's all in the trash.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. The Thunder have beat the Spurs, and it's going to Game 7 against the Warriors.
Speaking of, okay, so we moved on to the Thunder, and the Thunder, the reason the Spurs didn't make it, if you're a basketball fan, you know that it was going to be a tough series. I expected the Spurs to come out on top, but OKC, they kind of said, we got Kevin Durant back. We don't care if we missed the playoffs last year. We're at full strength, and we got some big guys, and how do you guys like that?
Yeah.
So I think they made a great statement. I think, it's going to be a great game tonight. And let's move on over to the next team we want to talk about, the Warriors. What do you have to say about them?
I have to say that earlier in the playoffs, they were a little scared because of Curry being gone against Houston and Portland.
Mm-hmm.
But then Curry got back, and him and Thompson finally got to where they used to be in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're like running. They're like, bye-bye, Thunder.
Yeah. Well, I expected the Thunder to compete. I expected this one to go 7 games from the get-go. What I never planned on was OKC being up 3-1 in the series. I did not think that was possible. I thought that the Splash Brothers were going to be eliminated. But you can struggle early, and if you finish strong, you give yourself a chance. So now it is Game 7 tonight. It's tied 3-3, and who's gonna win? We'll talk about that later. Let's talk a little bit about the Splash Brothers. Who are the Splash Brothers first of all?
Clay and Curry.
So
Clay Thompson, Stephen Curry,
those guys. I mean, they're so fun to watch. I'm a Laker fan. We're both Laker fans. But
it's fun watching the Warriors and like this.
It's fun watching the Warriors as a team, and because they have so many different stuff that needs to come together. Draymond's got to play well, but when these Splash Brothers just come at you like they did, to me the last Game 6 there wasn't so much about OKC's collapse, even though they did have a problem. It was about the emergence of the Splash Brothers and them saying, yeah, we've been doing this for a while, so now we're going to start to do it while it's important. So, we said enough about that, you think?
Probably.
Okay. What's next on the docket there? Bismarck Biyombo. What do we have to say about him? All right, well, if
I'm just kidding. I know lots. Basically, Valanciunas, Bismack him. He's replaced Valanciunas in a very good way.
I agree. He came out and his number was called because of an injury, and you gotta like the the poise he plays with. You gotta like his attitude on the court. He's smiling. Normally, I don't like it when people smile. I can handle him smiling. Because he's not usually smiling while he's losing. He's smiling while he's thriving. And to me, there's a big difference there. But Biyombo is set to make $2 million, or he made $2 million this year. His player option for next year is $2 million. He's not going to take the player option. He's going to opt out, and he's going to sign a new contract with Toronto or someone else. And us, as Laker fans, what do we want?
Him to go to L.A.
We would love to have Bismarck Biyombo in the Los Angeles Laker uniform. I don't know whether it's going to happen. He's the type of guy that he's probably going to want to stay in Toronto. He seems like a loyal guy. But if we can't lure DeRozan away, which he might be a little too expensive, I would pay Bismarck Biyombo $15 million a year to be in a Laker uniform next year. I would. I really would. All right. What's next? The ups and downs of Kyle Lowry in the playoffs. Should we talk about that? Yeah, briefly. Kyle Lowry started out really slow. He shot horribly in the first rounds, and he shot like 30%. His team was still, moving on. Even DeMar DeRozan didn't shoot well. Why not, Castle? Why didn't they shoot good? We don't know.
They're all stars, and they're both great, very helpful to the Raptors. But what happened in my mind was one night Lowry would have a pretty good game, score like 20 points, and then the next night he'd score like 8, and DeRozan would score like 20. So they kept trading places, and it didn't really work.
Yeah. And of course, in that first round, they were taken to 7 games by the Indiana Pacers, I believe. And so, but we don't know exactly what happened, but Kyle Lowry came through in the end. Both of those guys, I think they kind of, they were overmatched against Cleveland, but they did, I think probably the best they could have by getting 2 games on the Cleveland Cavaliers. All right. I'm going to go ahead and move on to who wins Game 7 tonight. We've got a Game 7. It's in Golden State, in Oakland, in Oaktown, Northern Cal. Game 7. It has been well advertised. I don't even know what to say about it. After the last game, can they do any more? What's your prediction? What's going to happen?
I think it's going to be a great game. The Thunder are definitely going to play good. But the Warriors fans, gosh, it's going to be loud in that building tonight. And I think the Warriors will be able to pull it out, but the Thunder will put up a good game.
I think I've been saying it all along, and I think if you're up 3-1 and you have 2 opportunities to put that team away, you need to take advantage of one of those 2. Since they didn't, I almost feel like they had their chance, and now that they didn't take advantage, that the other team's going to move on. With that said, it's just a game, guys. It's one game. It's not, we can all look into it and say, well, this and that and that and this. But the bottom line is that players are going to need to perform. I know the Golden State Warriors are going to perform, and I know the OKC Thunder are going to perform. What I don't know is the X factors. Is Dion Waiters going to show up? Is Enes Kanter going to have a good game? Is Draymond Green going to go off? What's Andre Iguodala going to do? Is he going to start? Are they going to start him tonight? I don't know. What I do know is that it's going to be a heck of a finish. And I do not expect it to be a runaway victory for anyone. I expect it to be close at the end. What do you think?
Same with you.
Yeah. So we'll just have to see what happens there. But that game is on in about 6 hours. And yeah, we'll be watching it. No doubt about it. Okay. So another surprise of the NBA this year for me is that we've had too many calls reviewed. It's very important to get the call correct, but we are spending too much time on these calls. Some of them are simple, some are more difficult. I don't care. What do you think?
I think some reviewing is needed in some of these calls, but some not as much.
Yeah.
But in the playoffs, I have not seen too much of these calls.
You think I'm just over-exaggerating a little bit?
A little bit.
Yeah. I guess I am, if it's I guess there's been some calls that are, that a juvenile could make that they're reviewing, and that maybe bothers me. Maybe the couple that I see bother me more than the others. I'm all for getting the right call, but, we don't need to stop and review the game all the time. So maybe there can be some new rules on, when you can make a review. But anyway, let's talk about finally what we really wanted to talk about, and that's the Los Angeles Lakers. Okay, the Lakers struggled this year, but what did they get? What's coming up?
Number 2 pick, most likely Ingram.
Who does number 2 work for? It works for the Lakers. Okay, how fortunate are we to get that pick?
Very fortunate.
I mean, if it goes to number 4, it goes to Phoenix or Philadelphia, whatever. But what I'm saying is, if it goes to number 3, the drop off in talent is just significant. So I am happy to get a number 1 or a number 2 pick. Also, I'm a little bit happy not to have to make the number 1 pick because I think both of those guys are studs. Both of them are NBA ready. And if I'm the Lakers, I trade 0 of my draft picks of my young guys. What do you think?
I think next year that we can get a good player without trading all of these young guys. Maybe like 1. But I think Russell, whoever we get, will have a lot of young talent.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to wait a little before we decide on what.
Right.
They're gonna
My issue is that I don't want to lose games like we did the last couple of years. Get players in the draft cheap and then give them up. It makes our losing all of a sudden not as worthwhile. However, if we lose and the Lakers pick up some young players, all of a sudden, baby steps. I'm preaching baby steps right now. Now, what are the Laker fans out there going to want? They're going to want a star. They're going to want us to trade for a star. And you know what I say to them? Be patient. Please be patient. Okay? So, we can do both. We can actually, draft someone, a good player, and we can use our $50, $60 million to bring in people via free agency. Am I correct? Right. So we can have both. So before we go, we want to talk about free agency predictions that we might like to have. I know we talked about Bismarck Biyombo. Who else do you want, Kat?
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to have
Anybody in Miami you want?
I know you want Whiteside. I want him too. Whiteside is a great player. He's nice and tall. Yeah,
he's a center that can play.
Yeah. I've seen his dunks. He's like
boom, unabashedly. So, yeah, I would like to see Whiteside. Sorry, I didn't mean to put words in your mouth. If you want someone else,
no, that's fine.
I'm interested in DeRozan, but I'm not like extremely interested in him since we have some people at that position. So I'm comfortable to be a Laker fan where we just kind of we're kind of like in a hurry up and wait type of situation, and I'm willing to wait a little bit. I think the Lakers next year are gonna they're gonna struggle again, unless they hit a home run in the free agency. And guess who we want the most? Kevin Durant. Guess who's not coming? Kevin Durant. So it's time to it's time to love the one you're with, right? So we love our Lakers, and I can't wait to see whether it's Brandon Ingram, Ben Simmons. Can't wait to see what happens with the Lakers in the future. I think Luke Walton is a fantastic addition. I think he was hired mostly based on reputation, and I think people will see that he deserved it because he has the hard work and the knowledge to do it. Was it risky? A little bit, but we need him more than he needs us.
Yeah.
Anything else you need to say on this Hoop Talk? Thank you for joining us. Subscribe if you want to.
If you don't want to, then you should go watch games.
Yeah, watch some games. Don't watch this. Watch the games instead.
I know.
All right. Well, we hope to see you at the game tonight. Well, this concludes our Hoop Talk this week.
What? We don't do it weekly. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The next Hoop Talk will probably be
in a month.
Near summertime. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy the game tonight. Even if you disagree with our decisions,
they are final. All right. Thank you. We'll see you next time on Hoop Talk.